Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Andre. Hello. What an honor to have you here with us today, Andre. Thank you so much for being a part of this event.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a bit about yourself, Andre. Tell us about your background, your education, your interests. Who are you?
I was born in Växjö with a mom from Sweden and a dad from France, and I have been growing up in Växjö. And as a kid, I was very wild and wanted to do a lot of things. Had a lot of energy and kind of had like an entrepreneurial mind. I think already as a child. Always wanted to explore new things, wanted to try out new things, and yeah, I did some projects already as a kid, like as a yeah, I was very exploral as a kid, and then when I became older, I started to work at the mental hospital after school.
Right.
I studied nature in school, and then after school, I started to work at a mental hospital, and kind of lost the entrepreneurial track for a while. But then I started to do renovation projects, kind of flipped apartments, found apartments that needed some renovation, uh, did renovation and then sold them to a higher price. So pretty simple. But that kind of got me back to the track of the entrepreneurship and how to build things and how to do projects and so on. And then I studied project management through Uppsala University. But I only did that for one semester, so it was like a course, and then I had a plan to continue with some kind of engineering program. But instead of doing that, I started my first company, which was an investment company, because I had an interest of investing as well. So I started that company, and then that turned out pretty good, and then I continued on that journey. So that's kind of my background story in a fast version.
Yeah, it must be a super fast version because there's so much that you've already stated about you working in so many different places. I'm sure all of that added to your passion to be an entrepreneur. But you worked at a mental hospital and you worked in renovating apartments, and then I mean there's so many different things that you did. That's amazing. What would you say, Andre, are the key milestones in your life before you became an entrepreneur? In when you look back, at what point do you think that you became an entrepreneur?
I think I was very curious as a child when it came to like entrepreneurship. I think I had a possibility, or had like this where I could kind of see opportunities already as a child. As an example, when I was 5 years old, I was at a party. My mom's sister had her 30-year-old party, and I had noticed that we paid to go to the bathrooms when we were at official places and public places. And at this party, I saw that there were a lot of people, but no one was charging at the bathrooms. So I stood outside the bathrooms and I started to charge people to enter the bathrooms. And I did that for a while until my mom found out that I was gone, and she heard from people that I was that a young guy was charging people to go to the bathroom. So she came up and closed the business. But that kind of like behavior I had kind of like as a child already. So I think I had kind of like an entrepreneurial mindset already, because I could do things like that, and I knew that there was a risk that mom could get pissed, and that yeah, it could have some consequences, but still I went for it. And then I think I lost track after high school, and when I started the mental hospital, I think I went into a different field and kind of got lost from that entrepreneurial mindset and everything that I had kind of natural. It disappeared when I was in the mental hospital, because then I was with people who didn't have any like entrepreneurial thoughts or ideas, and it wasn't a very like creative it wasn't very creative, a very creative place to be at as an entrepreneur, or like to have those thoughts, or to go into that direction. So I think that made me kind of go off track for a while. But on the other hand, it was really good to know more about like how we work, and like I got to know a lot about psychology, how we work as humans, and that knowledge I can use now when I'm an entrepreneur, and when I'm doing the businesses and so on. So it's a great knowledge to have right now. But at that point, it wasn't very good to be there to like nurture the entrepreneurial side of myself. But I think that a turning point was when I started to renovate apartments, and then I realized that okay, this is something that you can do. You can take an apartment that looks crappy and looks shitty, and then you can renovate it with some easy ways, and it can turn out to something beautiful and something nice that you can sell for a higher price. And I think that got me kind of back to the track, and then I continued on that track, kind of.
Beautiful. Yeah, well, just like Steve Jobs says that you can only connect the dots when you go back, when you look back. So at that moment this was happening to you, probably didn't understand how this is helping shape the entrepreneur that you are today. And that's the kind of stubbornness that you need, that you were already born with.
Yeah, I guess that stubbornness is really good to have, and also to kind of take the like the steps you need to take when they appear. And I think that the apartments were like definitely the like the right path, or the path that I needed to take to start my entrepreneurial journey for real.
Yeah. Perfect. One quick question about your background, just before we move on to other questions. I'm an educationist myself, so I can't help asking this question. Do you think your school had a role in making you curious and bringing in that entrepreneurial side of your personality?
Not really, to be honest. I don't think I had much curiosity from school, and I don't think that got very nurtured. To be honest, I think that most of my curiosity and that side of me that was nurtured outside school, and school unfortunately didn't have like a big role in it.
Okay, perfect. So there's a point business here to take, that maybe we need to do more to bring that entrepreneurial side of our people's outside. But
I think even though a lot of things have happened, I think that the last decade or the last 2 decades, a lot of like good initiatives have arrived, as UF for example, like this this project that you can make, that you can have your own like company as a youth, or like as in school you can start your own company and try it out. I think that's a good initiative. So some things have happened, but I think there's a lot you can do in the future.
There's a lot of room for improvement, absolutely. Yeah, and Sweden is beautiful that way, that there's so many projects that are going on within school, and there's so much freedom within schools as well. How Definitely. Are you connected to Växjö? a French-Swedish entrepreneur. So why did you decide to stay in Växjö?
I think I kind of got stuck in Växjö for a while, but I really like Växjö, so it was a good stuck. But my dad and mom decided to move here because of job, and then I was born here, 1990, and then I lived here until after school, and had like a plan to go to college and to go to a university, and then move when I was doing that. But then I wasn't sure what to study, if I should study. I had a lot of like thoughts about like if I should study, what I should study, and so on. I was thinking about studying entrepreneurship in Växjö actually, and I was also thinking about other cities. And then when we started Happy at Work, we had a kind of kind of a good like setup here in Växjö, because we were accepted in Företagsfabriken, and we also thought that it could be a good city to get the ball started in. So I think that like time passed, and I was in Växjö, and I lived in Växjö until I was 28, I think, before I moved to Budapest. So until the age of 28, and I think that Växjö is a pretty good place to be as an entrepreneur, to be a small city. I think as an entrepreneur, it's good to be in a city where you have a lot of possibilities and connections and a big network. But I think due to the size of Växjö, I must say that we have quite a good community in Växjö, and there's a lot of great role models and people that has succeeded not leaving Växjö. So that's a great proof that you can live in Växjö and be a successful entrepreneur here.
Absolutely. Växjö is a city you just can't leave. I mean, there are so many opportunities, despite the fact that it's not really a big city, not the capital city, but still has a university, and it has, like you said, very supportive network that can help us. And we'll talk more about it as we go on. Tell us a bit about Happy at Work International.
Happy at Work is a digital service to measure the well-being in companies. And we started Happy at Work because we wanted to create an easy application or an easy service that company could use to keep track of their employees, make sure that they're satisfied and doing well. And if they're not doing well, that the companies can detect this in an early stage and make changes to make the situation better and avoid people quitting or getting burned out. That was the main idea. We thought that the idea that was at the time, or the solution that was in place at the time, to measure only once a year or once every second year with a long survey with 100 questions. I have answered those. They are really, really boring to answer. And after like 20 questions, you're like, I just want to get over with. So you click kind of really fast just to finish it. Exactly. And then the data doesn't get relevant. The employees get a bit tired, and you don't get trends, which I think is the most important thing to get, because with Happy at Work, you get a trend over your company. So you can see if your company is moving towards the right direction or not. And by doing that, I think that you can make the company a lot more efficient if you use the product in the right way. So that was the idea, and I founded the company with Marcus Nordqvist in Gothenburg, actually parallelly at the time. It was 2018. So he was sitting in Gothenburg, and I was sitting in Växjö. So we had kind of like a distance between us and a distance in the company from the start.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's super interesting, because as an employee, I can vouch for that. That the surveys that we fill are very boring. I mean, there isn't much one can sit and think and write about. And I don't think a lot comes out of that. So that's lovely that you're doing that. But if you could elaborate a little bit, that is this an app for the company, or like, is it B2B, or is it aimed at people in general? This is a question that Linda would also like to know about.
Okay.
Is your
No, but it's a B2B. So we sell the company, we sell the service directly to CEOs or HR managers.
right?
Those two are mainly our targets, or the people that we talk to. And then everyone is involved, because then you use the application for the entire company. But the customer is the HR manager or the CEO in the company.
How do you get them to keep coming back to you? Because is this something that they do once a year, or do you think that the well-being needs to be done repeatedly? How do you get to keep your customers?
You are doing this like continuously. So by using Happy at Work, you're subscribing to the software. So it's a software as a service. So companies are subscribing to Happy at Work, and then they use it as long as they want to, but usually that's several years. And the goal for us, or what we want, is to keep the company for forever, or the customer forever. So it's not really an end date. When you start using Happy at Work, you use it continuously. So the service, they go out weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. And by doing that, you get the trends in the company, and you kind of use Happy at Work as a toolbox, or as a system, to make sure that the company is moving towards the right direction, and that you can prevent like things from happening, or from people from getting burned out, or from quitting their positions. So that's really the key.
So interesting. Just saying the name Happy at Works me, to be honest. It's just it's something that we need so badly at all our workplaces, to measure how the employees feel. How do you think that you're different from other measurements, other things that are, what makes you different from them?
I would say the speed and the easiness are really like the two core differentiations between other applications and competitors. We have, since the start, really been focusing on easiness, and to a point that are extreme in a way, because we always questioning ourselves if it's easy enough. And if we add something, we also need to add simplicity to it. So we are very like extreme when it comes to simplicity, that it needs to be simple. And everything that we do, we always like discuss if it's easy, if it makes it more complicated. And the thing is that we have added a lot of functions since we started the application. And usually that makes system more difficult and more complicated when you add functionality. But with Happy at Work, it has actually been the opposite. So we have added functionality, but we have also made the product even easier to use. And I think that's something that is pretty unique, that you make software more. You add more functions, but at the same time you make it more and more easy. And now we're about to do that again, actually. So we're about to release a new version of Happy at Work that we have been working with very intensively, or our CTO, and that has led that work has been working really intensively with that for more than half a year. And with that version, we will again add some more like functionality, but at the same time the software will be easier to use again. So I think that's really what differentiates us from competitors.
And your competition. Perfect. It seems like you have a really good team that helped you develop, and because when you're developing a software, you did really a lot of people involved. Was it easy, André? Was it easy for you to find the right people?
Yeah, I would say that's something that we have we have been like working with and struggling with quite a lot, because as a startup, especially in the beginning, you don't have much funds.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have enough funds to hire people 100%, and so on. And that comes with some consequences, that people might leave because they want to work 100%, and if you can't offer that, they go to someone else, or they want to have a salary that you can't offer. So I think that has been very challenging, but also something that we have learned a lot about. And I think we are like on the right track now when it comes to like who to hire, when to hire, how we should think about the like who to hire and when to hire. But I think that the best when it comes to the team is that we have a really good team now. We have a small, really good team. But then I also had a really good co-founder, and that's something that is really important when you want to build something, whatever it is, to have a great co-founder that support you, whatever it is, and whatever you need. And that's the reason why we are where we are today, and that we have the product that we have, and everything around it is because my co-founder was good and is good, and we're helping each other out a lot, and that's really the key.
Brilliant. We have a lot of people in our audience today who would also like to learn from your journey. So what advice would you give to them when you think about selecting or building a team? What do you think is the most important thing when you think about building a team?
There's a lot to say about that area, like overall. But I would say that what I have learned so far is to find people to really that really loves the product that you are building. That's really like a key, to find people that really loves what you are building and what you want to create, and like the idea around that. Then I would also say something that I will do differently to like when I do the next journey, and that is to wait with salespeople. It sounds like the most obvious thing to do, that okay, when you have your product, you're ready to sell, hire salespeople and get going with the sales and scale up. But the thing is that when you have when you have a product that is just finished and not that advanced yet, you don't have a proper sales process yet. Maybe you don't know like your ideal customer profile, your ICP, and in that moment it's really difficult to hire salespeople, because salespeople in general, they have been working in like, probably they have been working in companies that are more mature with a sales process, with a mature product and everything. And then the likeliness for them to succeed in your company, in your startup, with a product that are very immature and everything, the likability for that to happen, that they will succeed, is very low. And it's actually pretty low in a mature company, in a structured company, because it's very difficult in general to hire salespeople. So to do it in a startup as the first thing you do, I think mostly is a mistake, and that is a mistake that we did, that we hired like salespeople too fast, because I think really you need to sell. So don't misunderstand me here, that you shouldn't sell and you shouldn't focus on sales. Sales is really, really important. And in the beginning, it's really only about selling, developing, getting feedback from the first clients, and then develop, and then like making the product more solid. But I also think that it's really, really important to focus on building a great product from the very start. To have like all activities in the company should be focused on building a greater product. And then I think the people that should sell the product in the beginning is you as a founder, and it's your co-founders. They should sell until you have no room at all in your schedule for demos or whatever it is, then you hire the first sales person. And I even think that it makes more sense to hire a marketing person before you hire a salesperson. And that is something that we didn't do, and we really thought completely different regarding these things in the beginning. And that is something that we have learned during the way, and something that I really want to pass on to people that are in the beginning of the journey or are about to start a company, to wait with salespeople. Even though you're afraid of selling, you will most likely sell better than a experienced salesperson, because it's your company, it's your product. You know how it works, you know what flaws it has, you know how to show it and how to demonstrate it. So believe in yourself and feel confident to sell until you have maybe 1 million kroners in revenue or even more, before you even start to think about recruiting a salesperson.
Brilliant. That's a very valuable idea for our audience here. We have a few questions here, André. Do you think we should stop and take a few questions here? We have a follow-up question from Linda. We have a follow-up question from Linda, who says that, do people install your app when the company tells them to install it, or are there any rewards? Like, this is the gaming world, so to keep them motivated and competitive, do you offer rewards, or how does it work? Your application.
You don't get like rewarded to install it or anything. Like the reward kind of is to get feedback, simple and easy as an employer. And for an employee, you get like a small fact in the end. So that's kind of like the way to keep it, like to keep it interesting for the employee, that you get like a small fact in the end to mix it up a little bit and to make it new. Every time that you answer a survey, something new happens. But otherwise, it's really the simplicity and easiness that is the key. And then we also inspire and motivate the companies to show the results and to be transparent with the results, because we have seen a great link, and we have seen that companies that are open and transparent with the results, they also see a better response frequency from the employees. But it's an interesting question, because we are exploring and we are thinking about how we can use gamification and how we can make employees even more engaged with the system. And employees that want to engage more, if they can log into the system, or if they can the employees that want to kind of get more involved, that they can maybe have like a login, or that they can get more info than a regular user. So it's definitely something that we are exploring.
Brilliant. Who likes the app more? Startups or public sector, like communes? Who are your biggest buyers?
It's an interesting question, because since the beginning we have been saying that we don't have clear ICP. Like ICP is ideal customer profile, and that's kind of like your target customer. So I don't jungle around with words that people doesn't understand. But so we haven't had like a clear ICP really from the start. Our vision was that companies that really like simplicity, they are our buyers. Like companies that believe in simplicity and speed, and that want to measure and get this feedback in a really fast way. They are like our main customers and our ideal customers. Then throughout the way, like people have been saying to us, you need to have an ICP, you need to narrow down and say that, okay, this is your customers. And I think that is very important in general to do. And I think that maybe we need to do it as well. But it has taken time, because we have seen startups that wants to use the product with only 4, 5, 6 people. And then we have companies with thousands of employees that are using it, and they like it for the same reasons. Like the startup with 5, 6 people, they say that they like it because it's simple and easy and doesn't take any time. And the big companies say it's the same thing. They say that we like it because it's simple and fast and it doesn't take any time. But we have seen like lately we have seen companies with like 50 to 200 people. Like we have seen that group have been more, like they have been more able to buy the product, or they have bought it faster than other sectors. But we can't really say like this is our ICP yet.
So it's broad, but
yeah, it is.
So if you can just take us through your journey of pitching. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know that. How do you pitch? What's the process like, and what are the things that you've learned from pitching to so many different sized companies? And what do you find easy? What do you find difficult? Do's, don'ts? Take us through your pitching process.
Absolutely. I think that the most important part when you're pitching to a company, when you're trying to sell your company, is to listen to the company and spend a great portion of the time that you have to listen to the company's need. What product do they search for? What problems do they have? Like what problem can you solve with your product? And try to kind of demonstrate the product after that. So you start the meeting with the company with listening to their problem, and then you are spending almost the rest of the pitch pitching the product after the problem that they had. So you make the pitch as personal as possible for that company, so that you can show them that, okay, I have listened to your needs, and this is how you can solve these problems that you have. Then that you have like a clear process with the client is very important as well, that you use the last 5 to 10 minutes scheduling the next step, how it works, and that you listen to the company's questions and thoughts. But I would really say that like a personal demo and a personal pitch is something that is really important.
Absolutely. And in your experience, what are the kind of companies that are looking for the well-being of their employees? What know and take care of the well-being of their employees in our ecosystem here in Växjö?
I would say that the most is companies that are growing fast and afraid of losing people on the way. So they have money to invest in keeping track of their employees and in investing in well-being of their employees. And they're also they're growing fast, and they're competing with many other companies about these talents that they want to recruit. So they are very aware of the fact that they can lose their employees if they're not doing a good job and if they're not taking care of them. So I would really say I would say that these companies are maybe buyers more often than companies that don't grow that much. They don't have much like staff turnover, and they feel that they are pretty happy as they are. So I would definitely say that companies that are growing fast and have like some difficulties to find talents, they are more often buyers than other companies.
And if we take this a bit to the global scale, the definition of well-being is different for different countries, and you've been in Budapest and in France, in Sweden. How would you define well-being of an employee?
I would define well-being of an employee in the like willingness to stay at the company, engage in the company, and provide to the company. So like it comes down to engagement a lot, like how engaged you are. Because if you're engaged in a company, you're likely to stay in the company, you're likely to contribute to the company. But it doesn't need to mean that you feel very happy outside the company or anything. But I think that I believe that engaged people are happier and they feel better than like other people. So I would say that it comes down in engagement and likeliness to contribute to the company. And then it like that combined with like some kind of like balance when it comes to, you know, taking care of yourself, working out, doing the necessary things to feel good, like physically and mentally as well. So like engagement in combination with like work-life balance. I don't really like the word work-life balance, because I think that you can be happy and feel well even though you work more than you have like free time. But I think that if you take good care of yourself and you're engaged and you like what you do, then you feel quite happy at work.
Yeah, brilliant. That's fascinating, because that's a question we get a lot here at Start to Grind about work-life balance and how to, because startup it's a tough journey, and
It is.
and one has well-being is a big part of this journey, so that needs to be taken into account. Johan Hagström would like to know, do you look at yourself as a startup company today?
If we see ourselves as a startup company?
Yeah.
I would say that we do still. We're in between like startup, scale up. We are like pushing really hard to really hit like the bullseye of the scale up like situation or the position. So I would really like categorize ourselves like a startup, scale up still. I heard somewhere that you are like a startup until the year 7. But I think it comes down to like culture. It comes down to like how much money you have, like how much revenues you have, what kind of business it is. I think Spotify, for example, they considered themselves startup for like 7 to 10 years or something. So I think it takes some time before you leave that stage.
Yeah. But again, you can't put a number to how long it takes to move from a startup to a scale up. But if you take us through your journey from the idea of happy work, we have a lot of people in our community here that who are sitting on really, really good ideas, but they don't know how to take it from the idea stage to a startup stage. So how did it work for you? So one day you woke up and you had an idea. What happened next?
I think that what's important when taking an idea into action is to ask yourself if you're prepared to do it. If you're prepared to like take all necessary steps and really focus on what you're about to do or build for a very long time. Because I think that a lot of startup founders, including myself, underestimate how long time it takes to build a company.
Yeah. Yes.
Because before you have built something, you can count with at least like 7 years before you have built something that are, you know, somehow solid and grounded. 7 years. I thought when I started Happy at Work with Marcus, we thought that, you know, we're gonna do this like in 2-3 years or 3 years. It's gonna be a scale up. We're gonna have like a lot of revenues. We had this prognosis and everything, and now, you know, this is our 4th year, and we have been accomplishing a lot, and we're proud of what we have done, but we're also so much in the beginning still, and it's still, you know, just the start, just the beginning. There's so much, you know, left to do. But I think that's a really that's a very important question to ask yourself. Like, am I prepared to take the necessary steps, and am I prepared to invest, you know, 7 years to build this company? It can take less years, but it can also take a lot more years. So I think that you need to be prepared for like 7 years. And then, should I do this myself? Should I take like all the risk and all burden myself, or should I do this together with 1, 2, 3 co-founders? They say somewhere that 4 co-founders are the best setup to be for founders. And I believe that it can, but I also believe that it's a lot better to be 2 great co-founders than 4 mediocre co-founders that doesn't know each other that well, or you will end up in a lot of discussions and everything. So I think that ask yourself if you want to do it yourself or with co-founders, and if you want to do it with co-founders, find co-founders that you trust, and for the good of it, even though it's a bit boring, make up a really good cooperation agreement to have, like, to settle all those things in the beginning. We didn't do that with Happy at Work. We end up we had some discussions in the beginning, like who should work more than the other and so on. But I think that I think that that's also really important, to have that settled from the start. Who's doing what, and how much time will we invest in this, and so on. And then get the ball rolling. Do some testing, and don't ask your friends and family what they think about your product. Go out and ask people you don't know or barely don't know. Do a test if you can, like do a test survey or something like that. When we started Happy at Work, or the year before, we went to HR conference. And we and Marcus, my co-founder, actually invested his own money in doing that. So it was like an investment of 30,000 maybe, the whole event costed. And in that point, we didn't have a company, we didn't have any investors or anything. So Marcus just put 30,000 of his own money for us to be able to go there and try the idea out. And we had like a first MVP product that we tested on HR managers, and we had their first response, which was good, and that made us start the company. So that thing was really, really important to try the idea and test it on your market before you decide to start a company and do everything.
I think we lost you for a little bit here. There was a bit, the internet were lagging, but you've talked a lot about, but now it seems to be working fine. You've talked about, you've already talked about co-founders here, but would be really interesting to know what do you think about what kind of co-founders do you have? People who have the same set of skills as, or people with different skill sets, people you easily agree with, or people who are stronger than you are? What do you think? What do you have in your mind when you go out looking for a co-founder for your company?
I think that it's important with different skill sets that can help you to get going, and that can to have like a solid group of co-founders that are really skilled in different areas. That can definitely help you. But what I'm looking for in co-founders is more the mindset, because I think that outruns the skills, and that you have different skill sets more than anything. So I think to look for a great mindset, someone that are willing to do the run together with you, someone that are willing to to continue to run when you are getting some rest, and someone that you can run for when he's getting some rest. I think that's so much more important than find different skill sets, because I think most of the times I think people are looking for skill sets. If you are a salesperson, you look for an engineer, you look for a marketing person, you look for accountant, or for like a finance person, CFO person.
Yeah.
But I think, I'd rather start a company with 2 other salespersons or 2 other engineers than starting a company with 4 different skill sets, and then they doesn't have the mindset where they are willing to push when you really need to push, when you need to stand up after a hard hit. That kind of people are the ones that you really need to find, and those are much more valuable than a PhD or a great a great CV, because the CV from the employee world doesn't say much in the startup or in the entrepreneurial world, because it's a complete different mindset that you need to really get things going, and to really push when you need to push.
Absolutely. This sounds like tricky business to find just the right person, just the right co-founder for the company. And once it works, it's like a huge, huge blessing.
It is. It is.
All
I think
pieces, it's like a puzzle, pieces fall in place.
it is. And I think that's where people struggle the most. It is with your co-founders, and you should struggle with your co-founders. So it's like, even if you find a really good match, like I would say that I've had a good match with Marcus in Happy at Work, but we have also had discussions. We have been arguing about a lot of things, and that comes with it. Like when you're starting a company, you will have a lot of doubts, you will have a lot of problems and a lot of issues, and then you will argue. But the key thing is that you argue, and then 1 hour later or the next day, you're all good again, and you're ready to to continue to push and to grind to make the company going.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's very well said. Now we don't have a lot of time left, and we have a lot of questions. So, Andre, are you ready for a lot of questions?
Shoot.
All right. So let's take one from Anna. You mentioned culture, Andre. Is startup different from companies in culture?
I will say that culture is very tricky in startups compared with more mature companies, because you don't really have a culture yet. The culture is about to happen. It's like when you go to a new party or a new restaurant, and you feel that you don't really know how you should behave there, or how it is there, because it's about to settle. And I think it's the same in a startup. The culture is about to happen. You don't know what it is yet. You have a vision for the culture. You want it to be maybe open. You want it to be clear. You want it to be open and kind. You have these ideas of what the culture should be, but maybe it won't be that. It won't happen, or things happen throughout the way that will make that culture difficult, because a lot of things will happen that are not very kind, and then it's difficult maybe to have kind culture. I think that's the tricky part in a startup, that it's about to settle the culture, and that really differentiates it between a startup and a more mature company.
Thank you very much for the detailed answer. I hope, Anna, your question was answered here. Johan, impressed of your sell technique through the business network BNI. Do you idea this one-to-one meeting still? I mean, do you still use this strategy, BNI?
I'm not part of BNI anymore. It is for you who doesn't know. It's a business network where you meet other entrepreneurs and business owners and salespeople and so on, and you kind of exchange connections, and you help each other to sell more. I think these kind of networks can be great. I was part in BNI for a while, and it gave me a lot of contacts, and it was good. But I didn't find that it was the best sales channel for Happy at Work. I found that other channels and strategies were better. But I still think it's good to be in a network and meet with other entrepreneurs and business owners that can give you a lot of contacts. And I'm open to be part of one again. But I decided to leave BNI 1 year ago, I think 2 years ago, when I moved to Budapest, actually. So that was the main reason, I think.
Perfect. Yeah, networking is, it's the most important thing. And I think Växjö is the kind of city where networking is easy, and there are a lot of networking places available.
Definitely.
To the next question. Do you think running a startup is tough, André? How should startup founders maintain their health, their work-life balance, but still not work with low cash, huge deadlines, etc.? It is a tough journey, definitely.
It is a tough journey, definitely. Like me and Marcus, we always joke that we have been getting a lot older since we started as entrepreneurs. That we are getting older, like with 1.8x instead of just like one time. So you are getting you have a lot of you have a lot of burden, and you have a lot of stress, and it will be tough. And I think you just need to enjoy most of it. I think that's the key. If you enjoy what you do, if you like the hustle, and if you like the project that you're doing, or the product that you're building, that will make it a lot easier to kind of cope with all the stress and all the burden and all that. Because it will be tough. Like however you make it, like even if you have the best co-founders, even you have a product that will meet market fit from day one, it will be tough, and it will be a lot of deadlines that are difficult to meet, and there will be a lot of stress. And I think that I think that if you like the product, and if you take good care of yourself during the way, I think that you need to understand that, okay, you can't be up until 2 a.m. watching Netflix. You can't go out every Friday, Saturday and party with your friends. You have to kind of let go of your old life, and really focus on what you're doing, and focus on yourself, and focus on building yourself as you're building the startup, to feel as good as possible.
Yeah, so you step up into this journey thinking that there will be a lot of sweat, blood, tears, a lot of all-nighters, and you have to sometimes take things with a pinch of salt, and it never goes up straight, and it's always up and down. And that is where you have to draw a line and look for work-life balance. It is a tough journey.
It is
an interesting one as well. Absolutely.
100%.
We're now going to come to the last question. I'm sorry, there are a lot of questions here, but we'll just have to take one more. What has been one thing that has been behind your success or happy at work success? If you had to pick up one most important thing, what would you say that was?
I would say the persistence. From myself and from my team, and my co-founder, and their persistence, that we have kept pushing, even though it has been really tough sometimes, even though we have had obstacles during the way. We have always climbed over the obstacles, and we have always pushed further. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to anything. Because most ideas that start up, most ideas are already out there somehow. It's about many times it's about making something better, and to take an idea that exists and make it 10, 20, 30% better. And then it comes down to persistence, and to really push when other are getting tired. You keep on pushing, and you take that next step all the time. That's really what that is really what has made the difference. for us.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And innovation is not reinventing the wheel all the time. Like you said, you just take whatever's available and then you keep on improving it and making it better and adding on value to it.
Exactly.
Well, looks like that was all the time we had with you today, Andre. It was such a wonderful event talking to you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for giving your time to us and talking to us and sharing your journey with us. We're very grateful to you for being here. And also a big thank to all our audience here for all these interesting questions and for being here and being engaging so much and making this event interactive.
Nice.
Thank you, Andre.
Thank you a lot. Thank you for having me, and thank you all for a lot of good questions. And just I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn or wherever. If someone didn't have an answer to your question and you want to reach out on LinkedIn, feel free. André Francois should be able to find me there quite easy.
Perfect. Thank you, Andre. Goodbye.
All right. Have a nice evening.